Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. I am Nuruddin Olajide Balogun. You are watching Eternal Bliss, a powered program of Nasrullah Elefati Society. With me in the studio discussing the topic for today, technology as a tool for youth development and empowerment, is an technology consultant, the membership secretary for NASFAT, Brother Kazim Adewale Naibi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome, my brother. When we talk about technology as a tool for youth development and empowerment, permit me to ask, what are the prospects technology can offer us, particularly the youth?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi
Okay, so
wa barakatuh.
Technology as a tool has come to help us to create borderless interactions and has helped us to improve on the way we interact, the way we do a lot of things. Technology can be used as a prospect for different purposes. It can be used as investment vehicle, it can be used for personal development vehicle, social interaction, which communication vehicle, and it can also be used as a business vehicle. So depending on whatever you want to use technology for, you have prospects in almost every ramification of human endeavor. As technology has come to ensure that our efficiency as humans is no longer an option, and it has become mandatory for us to be efficient. You know, before now, there are a lot of things that we used to do that we think is efficient, and when technology came, the efficiency level, measurements increased a bit. It increased so much and drastically, and it has helped us as humans to really become more resourceful.
To mention how best we can maximize all of these highlighted prospects.
So you can maximize the prospects of technology from two angles. You can maximize technology as a consumer. You know, as a consumer, use technology to optimize your processes. Like you are a business person, for example, and you want your business to operate beyond borders. I mean, let me just use a very simple example. Before now, microfinance banks used to have offices. They sit down in their office, then people come. We've seen the advent of digital banks. We've seen banks who are just microfinance banks being able to have close to 500,000 to 1 million customers and not having a single branch, with the effect of using technology. So as businesses, as consumers, you might want to use business to optimize your business processes. You might want to use technology as a learning vehicle. Right now, you don't need to leave your house before you become a degree holder, for example. You probably don't need to leave your house again before you have a master's degree, for example. So you can go that route of using technology for your own benefit. Or you can also be like in economics, you know, there are factors of production.
Yes.
You can use land, labor, capital. You can be in the labor part and also serve as a tool for creating technology products. So in this case, for example, I'm talking about you being involved with building technology process, building technology products, building mobile apps, building softwares, as it were, building hardware, as it were. So, because this skill set, for example, in the Nigerian or even in the African economy, as it is still in the virgin state, there is still a dearth of skills requirements for this particular aspect. Right now, today, if you put up a vacancy for software developers, mobile app developers, you get few applications. When you compare to when you're looking for banking bankers and administrative jobs and the likes, even accountants, you get tons of applications. But right now, so as a person, you can decide to go into the space, get trained as software engineers, learn how to build mobile apps. I mean, the software engineering or technology space is a very, very big space that takes care, that can accommodate as much skill set as possible, from design, product management, product documentation, programming itself. You know, programming is just one part of it. There are people that design what we code. There are people that do documentation, software analysts. There are quality assurance people. There are software developers. There are database management people. There are data analytics people, people who help you to analyze your data, to help you to do a situation analysis of where you are and help you make prediction of where you're going to. So you can also take part in that. But if you don't want to take part in the labor part of things, if you have money, you can become a venture capitalist and do investments into technology products. I mean, so in the last 2 years, you've heard of companies getting sold for $100 million. I mean, Flutterwave itself, for example, is now a unicorn of a $1 billion value. People who invested in those companies like 5 years ago just invested $1,000, $2,000, even $500 have had incredible profits that they have made while investing in those technology businesses. So you can either come in as a consumer, you can either come in as somebody who is involved in the process of developing technology products as a venture capitalist.
Thank you very much. You've actually done so well on the maximization. But I'm wondering, are there no positive effect of technology in the education sector?
Okay, so the education sector is one sector that has benefited in technology optimization. Technology helps education to optimize so many things, to content delivery. People, like I mentioned earlier, people now, you can now get degrees from your system and the likes. And this literally means that there are also people who are working behind the scene to help you get those degrees right from their own homes too. So they are not sitting within the walls of a school. They are sitting within the walls of their house and helping you to learn. So there are people that actually enjoy benefits from being employed on a remote environment. So we call it remote working, where people just get employed and from the comfort of their home, they open their laptops, do their work, and get paid.
Okay, that is working from home.
Yeah, people work from home. People sit down at their home to do thesis for people online. People sit down at their home to teach people online. As much as people teaching the Quran and Islamic values online, people teach several other things online. Apart from that, you also have people who also work as software engineers too. You understand? People work as software engineers. There are so many companies abroad who have started beaming their lights on the Nigerian workforce. Probably, maybe because they find it cheaper to employ people out here. Then there are other sectors apart from education who benefit from technology optimization. In government sectors, there are a lot of things that governments have done using technology. You can see the Treasury Single Account, for example, that the federal government is using to capture the finance of. It's being powered by technology. There are governments that are using technology to do CFO production. There are governments that are using technology to collect tax. You understand? So, for example, in Lagos State, for example, right now, if you use BRT a lot, they've phased out cash collection.
The ticketing.
Yeah, so they now use a card that you can. So that's how far technology has gone. You also talk about the broadcast industry. There's going to be a digital switch over very soon.
That's for April 29.
Exactly. So people, the broadcast industry too is using technology, especially in the broadcast industry, is actually going in a very, very different direction. With the aid of technology, with technology, you are creating more media channels, apart from the traditional media channels, which will also help to create more jobs. That is why you see people struggling to create content online. People are, because if you create media channels, you must be able to provide content for those channels. So these are the effects of optimizing or maximizing the use of technology to us as people in the economy.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Brothers and sisters in Islam, we are building a mosque and Islamic complex at Asheshe along the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, and we need your help to complete the construction of the mosque. The Lagos-Ibadan Express Road every day has more than 300,000 vehicles. That's about 9 million vehicles passing the road on a monthly basis. That's about 52 million passengers. And these are passengers that will benefit from the siting of this mosque. The mosque has capacity for over 4,000 worshippers and will provide world-class facilities for traveling Muslims, including prayer points, ablution conveniences, medical facilities, training centers, conference and event facilities, and much more. We are now at a crucial stage, and we do need your help to complete the roofing and, of course, to complete the construction of the mosque. Allah has promised a place in heaven for whoever helps to build a mosque, and we hope you can join us to complete the construction of this mosque and especially to complete the roofing, inshallah.
To donate, please use the following bank accounts. Account name, Nasfat Mosque Development Account. Or you can make a USSD payment. May Almighty Allah continue to reach us all as we donate to this project. Jazakumullah khairan.
Still on the maximization, I want to ask, what's your own personal assessment of the awareness of the youth of this vast opportunity that technology has brought? Are we actually aware of it?
So personally, I feel the awareness is still low, although it is growing, but the pace at which it is growing is still very, very, very low. People right now are not really aware about most of the opportunities that we have, because I mean, if you look at the unemployment statistics of the country, for example, you will know that if people are actually aware of many of these opportunities, our unemployment rate might drop drastically, because as much as you know that if you leave school, you don't need to just sit down in your house and start, or you don't need to put on your CV and start walking around to look for a job. If you are able to sit down and say, okay, I'm aware of these opportunities that are vast, where do I want to play? You know, I've highlighted the different ways you can play in the technology space. And you can also sit down to say, okay, in this space, how do I want to play? Where do I think fits me? Even if you're a medical professional, for example, it does not stop you from playing in the technology space. As far as we still go to the hospitals to sit down and wait 1, 2, 3 hours to see a doctor, it means that we need something to optimize that process. You understand? So if you're a health medical professional, you can play in the space and use technology to drive optimization of that sector. If you are in the education sector, you can play a role in using technology to maximize the delivery of educational content to people. I mean, we've seen a lot of startups who have come up with processes where you don't need to. I enroll my son to an online platform where when he gets back from school, he engages them on Zoom. They don't need to see him physically. They talk to each other. And it helps even the child to get accustomed to the values, to the modern technology space as early as possible and help them prepare for the future.
That's wonderful. As a technology consultant, you will not deny the fact of illegal activities on, do I say the technology or the internet or whatever, via our gadgets, our mobile phones, our laptops, and all you can think of. What will you say on this?
Okay, so in terms of abuse, as far as for every sector, there is always advantage and disadvantages. So in terms of abuse of the use of technology, you have had a lot of people who have used technology in the wrong way to harm people. So I'm going to talk about this in two perspectives. In the perspective of the person that is trying to do abuse,
Okay.
and in the perspective of the user that is being abused. So in the perspective of the user that is being abused, which I want to assume a lot of our viewers out there will fall, is technology should be used with due diligence.
Due diligence.
Yes, you should use technology with due diligence. You should not say because you are using technology there are no hazards.
Okay.
So you should use it with due diligence and with pure intelligence. So let me give you examples. For example, you are using a mobile phone. You should know that your mobile phone was created by somebody. You understand? In the tech space, there's a slang that we always say, that for every user, there's a super user. You should know that the technology that you are using was also created by that person. And there is a very strong potential that person still has control
over the phone,
over what you are using. Do you understand? So when you are using tech, use it with due diligence and pure intelligence. If you are using your banking app, for example, on your phone, on your laptop and everything, make sure you try and educate yourself with the best practices of using this. Because what most of the people that abuse technology do is play on social engineering. They play on your intelligence. Somebody calls you and says he's from UBA, he wants your BVN and the likes. And meanwhile, UBA is busy explaining to you out there that they don't need your BVN for anything. You understand? So things like that, try to get yourself educated with those things. So like I always advise people who are in the older realm that if you know that you will not be able to use, for example, your bank app with due diligence, you don't know things around it, it's better you stay away from it until you. So talking about from the side of the fraudster, I always tell people that the tech industry has the capacity to take care of you much more than what you earn as a fraudster. So if you want to be a fraudster, you have to learn how to do it, which requires some intelligence. You need gadgets. You are going to buy gadgets. The same intelligence that you need to dupe people is the same level of intelligence you need to become a programmer, for example. The same gadgets that you need to dupe people is the same set of gadgets you work with as a programmer. There are people in this country who are programmers who work online and earn as much as $10,000, $20,000 per month.
So as a fraudster, those that abused the technology, you are trying to say it takes even a lesser stress to be of the advantage.
On the positive side of things. So you can actually play in the positive part of things
of the
with
technology.
The same energy that you are using to play in the negative part of things, which even has a bigger risk of you getting jailed.
Before we move to the next question, I still want to ask you, you have only mentioned the users being conversant, like you are very protective of your gadgets, your applications on your phone. What are the measures? Like we know some of our phones has a face lock, pin lock, fingerprints, and all of. Are these not enough aside the call you mentioned?
Okay, so your phones, your devices have security measures.
Even our laptops.
Your laptops have security measures. You can use your fingerprint and the likes and the likes. I have mentioned earlier that we need to start educating ourselves with best practices. So let me give you an example of a best practice.
Thank you.
Two-factor authentication is a very good practice. Two-factor authentication is you require a code for you to have access. You require a second level of authentication for you to have access to some certain resources.
Which is on all media.
Yes. So, for example, it is advisable to activate two-factor authentication on your WhatsApp. For example, if you have two-factor authentication on your WhatsApp, the chances of your WhatsApp getting hacked or getting compromised is at the bare minimum. You understand? If you enable two-factor authentication on your email, the chances for people having access to your email is very minimal. So two-factor authentication is very good. You also have biometric verification. You understand? Biometric verification is a pattern that has helped people to build a very strong layer of security. So those are some of the processes, some of the standard practices that you use to prevent those abuses.
Thank you. It's obvious there are infrastructural deficits in technology in Nigeria. How is it affecting, or how can you relate it to challenges facing the youth in Nigeria?
So actually, there are infrastructural deficits in the country when it comes to technology. For example, our internet penetration rate is still relatively low compared to other countries. But this really affects youth empowerment. You know, for example, we were mentioning that, okay, as a youth, you're supposed to learn technology tools that will allow you optimize your skills and help you be successful in the future. So if you are learning those tools, you need technology infrastructure to be able to achieve those goals. And the best solution is to implore government to invest more in technology infrastructure for the country. For example, try as much as possible to improve our internet penetration capacity, our internet penetration rates. Try as much as possible to review the curriculum of our educational sector and inject a lot of technology-driven subjects into them. You know, if you look at our curriculum presently, you see technology is still being treated like an extra curricular activities. You understand? So we need to start infusing technology into our basic curriculum. We need to invest more in training our youths in the areas of, because, for example, I told you earlier that the companies in US and Europe are beginning to beam into the Nigerian workforce for what we call cheaper labor. Right now, India is the biggest outsourcing company when it comes to technology in the world, because they have a population, a very large population, and that population, a lot of them, an average 1 of 5 of them have skills to be able to build one thing in technology or the other. So governments need to be deliberate about all these things, because these are the things that will help you reduce your unemployment rate. And when your unemployment rate is reduced, all this level of insurgency, unrest that you have everywhere is because people don't have work. So when people get engaged, you have rest of mind that all those things will reduce.
As we are rounding off, what advice will you give to the youth using you as a case study?
Okay, so my advice to the youth out there is to try as much as possible to leverage on the opportunities that technology has to provide and use it to empower themselves. You know, me as an example, I'm a graduate of biochemistry, and after I graduated, I tried to leverage on technology, and I've been able to at least use it to empower myself to run my own businesses and work for other people, and also help other people to also grow too. So it's an industry that is very, very lucrative, I must tell you. It's an industry that is very, very good for you to thrive and to give you the peace of mind that everybody is looking for. So I will advise the youth, if you are in school, try and learn technology tools that will optimize what you are doing, what you are learning in school. If you are out of school, if you are a graduate, try to learn or try to picture yourself in the technology sector and find a space for yourself to thrive.
Thank you very much. With me in the studio before now, discussing technology as a tool for youth development and empowerment, is a technology consultant, the membership secretary, NASFAT, Brother Kazim Adewale Noibi. Thank you very much for coming. May you find favor before God and man. Everybody at home, particularly the youth, he has spoken, we've had. Let's actualize what we have. We use what we have to gain what we want positively. Till tomorrow, when we meet here on the same channel, same station, I am Nuruddin Olajide Balogun. Masalam.